The Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week with your host, Tomasz Fonseca, and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business, from $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters in Real Estate Marketing, Ardor SEO.
Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Icons of Real Estate podcast. With us today, we have Marc Stein. He's the CEO of Leaks Residential, brokered by eXp Realty, with teams in New Jersey and Florida. With his motto of do good for others, Marc has been able to personally close over 1,000 transactions, now doing good for our Icons of Real Estate podcast. Welcome to the show, Marc.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, it's my pleasure, my pleasure. So tell me, we usually kick off with your real estate journey, so please spare no details.
So my real estate journey starts off with not wanting to do real estate. I was involved in a lot of different businesses throughout high school and college. I was in the restaurant business doing catering. I worked in hotels, and my mother did not like that pathway for me. So I decided to listen to her, and I got my real estate license. And the first 3 years I was part-time trying to figure out what I wanted to do while I was finishing college, while I was trying to, start up a bunch of different businesses. And after 3 years of doing it part-time, I kind of just fell in love with working with people, right? I was really helping a lot of friends of mine who were just buying their first home or first apartment, and like the joy that they got, when we were closing a deal, I was like, oh, this actually is kind of fun. And it's kind of like a really nice thing to do. So I kind of started my journey there. But, once I decided to go full time into real estate, it took off from there. I was selling all over the state of New Jersey. I was working for a family owned business back then that taught me how to do business properly. And they were just wonderful mentors. And just from there, it just kept, building one on top of another, meeting more people. Oh, can you help me with this piece of real estate? Help me with this piece of real estate, to a point where I sold someone a house, and he calls me up like 6 months later. He's like, you did such a good job for me. I have a real estate fund that just took over a bunch of properties that we want to sell. Can you help sell them? I was like, sure. Where are they? And they were like the furthest point away from me in New Jersey. But I was like, yeah, let's do it. I'll figure it out. And I was traveling 2 hours back and forth every day to try to figure out how to get rid of these properties for them. And we got it done. And they were so grateful that they started recommending me to like all their friends, all their family. They recommended me to a family that I sold 3 brothers, 2 sisters, and the parents, all homes within 4 years of each other. And just seeing the joy of watching the family grow and watching these people make their home in these different towns was really enjoyable. And I kind of just kept building and building and building. Soon after, I got recruited to manage an office for someone else. So I went over to manage a real estate office where I was managing agents, training them, coaching them. And I really enjoyed that aspect of the business as well. So I kind of continued that trajectory and became a real estate coach and trainer, where I was working with newly licensed agents on the first 90 days, what you need to do in order to build your business. And then once you finish the 90 days, we have a 6-month program. And those programs gave a lot of agents their real start on building their businesses. And a lot of those agents today are 6- and 7-figure earners, because they followed the system that we laid out for them. They were able to build their network and build their following as realtors. In 2013, I decided, hey, I'm done managing for someone else. I want to do my own thing. And it was just at the time where, it was becoming like a good thing to be a paperless office. People were doing online e-signatures. Social media was just starting to become more a business tool, more than just a personal tool. So I decided one day, let's open up my own brokerage. And it took me 6 months to actually get it done, but we got it open with folding tables and folding chairs in a small little 700 square foot retail space. And within a year, we outgrew that space, and I had to get a 3,500 square foot office a couple towns over. And then within a year of that, we had opened up a third office, and we had 75 agents working. And it was just an incredible experience, building that. But I woke up one morning and I realized I don't enjoy running a business. I enjoy doing business. I enjoy coaching the agents. but I was so busy running a business with 75 agents and 3 offices and managers and paperwork, and it wasn't enjoyable to me anymore. So I went looking for where to go. I almost sold the business to different, big corporate places, but I didn't like the corporate atmosphere. It wasn't for my agents. It wasn't for what I wanted. And then I came across EXP Realty, and a couple of friends had, gone over there, and it took me some time to really understand the model and the platform. But once I did, I was like, oh, this is it. This is how real estate in the future is going to be done. And so we jumped over there, brought the brokerage over to EXP. Some agents stayed with me on my team. Some agents just came over to EXP to work as their own agent, and used me as a resource. And for the last 2.5 years, we've been building up a network of agents in New Jersey, in Florida, in Texas, and in Israel, and we're expanding other places where we're bringing on agents over to EXP to really help them grow their business and help them realize that, the business of real estate is no longer about the brand that you work for. No one cares. Not a seller in this world cares what flag is put in their front lawn, what sign is there, what colors are on your business card. They care that the agent that they're hiring is doing the job that they want them to do, treating them with respect, communicating, and making sure their house gets sold. And so once an agent realizes that, there's no reason for an agent to be anywhere else but EXP, because EXP is really just a platform to run your business how you want to run it. And so here we are today. We run a team of 15 agents who directly work for me. We got an awesome staff, and we sell throughout the whole state of New Jersey and some in Florida now. So it's really, really great.
Nice. What an amazing story. And it all started because you listened to your mother.
Yeah. Yeah. So always listen to your mother. She does know best.
Best business advice. And yeah, so you had 75 agents on your indie brokerage, but then so only 15 of them followed you to EXP Realty. Is that correct?
15 of them became part of my actual team at EXP Realty, and another 20 of them joined EXP, but didn't need my exact organized team. They were doing their own thing. So I still mentor them and coach them, but they're not on what's called the Links residential team. They run their own stuff. One of them runs their own team now. Some of them have partnerships. So it's nice to see them all flourish and build their business in their own way without having to be under me.
Yeah, no, but it's good in EXP that is possible, and you don't have to break a smile for that to happen, that you're actually happy that they're running their own businesses there.
Right.
And yeah, tell me why, I know you're focused in New Jersey, this is where you live, but how come you're now selling homes also in Florida? Aren't they just a tiny bit far away from you?
So listen, a lot of people from the Northeast, New Jersey, New York area go to Florida and move there, live there part-time. It's an easy place to go for vacation. So I worked with a bunch of agents there, brought them on board, and now, all the people here that work with in New Jersey who oh, I'm thinking about going to Florida. I'm like, great, call one of our agents down there and they'll help you. So we got agents, in the Miami area, in the Boca area, in the Boynton Beach area. And so, we have a, partnership with them so that they can, take the leads from us and sell it, and we can, earn some in commission on it. But it works both ways. We have people from Florida who are relocating around the country that we help, settle wherever they're going for a job or for retirement. And, so we're trying to make it work and, become more of a global real estate company along with EXP, which is, provided a platform for that. My brother is in Israel as a real estate agent. And so we built some agents there as well. And we're looking to keep growing. So, they've made it easy for us to run our business without worrying about the actual day-to-day operational part of the business. And so we're just focused on our buyers and sellers, right? What can I do to help my agents be better so that they can service the buyers and sellers? And that's how we start every day in our office, is what more can we do for the agents in our team, in our downline, in our organization? What can we do to make their life better, to make it easier for them to service the buyers and sellers that they talk to on a daily basis?
Nice. So yeah, so do you also coach your brother in Israel? Do you think the same coaching that you have here in the US can be applied in countries like Israel?
It's the same coaching everywhere. It's all about building relationships. It's all about getting to know people. It's all about showing gratitude, helping one another, right? My motto is do good for others, right? If you keep just doing it, out of the goodness of your heart, not because you're expecting anything back, you see people all of a sudden will reach out to you a year, 2, 3 later, hey, you helped me with this. Now can you take care of that? Or I'm going to give you a deal. And there's people who I helped who I made absolutely no money on, but all of a sudden they referred me a $3 million deal, right? Because I helped them and I did something for them that was valuable. And they're like, oh, you're a straight shooter. You don't sugarcoat it. You helped us out through the situation. People remember that. And then when the time comes, good people will always recommend you. And then you're building your business in 100 different ways. And so if you continually do that on a regular basis, whether it's here, whether it's Israel, whether it's in Florida, whether it's in Barcelona, wherever you're going to be, right? Like you do good for others, you build the right reputation, people want to work with you and you're going to get referred out. And it may not come back tomorrow, but in a year or 2 or 5, someone's going to say, hey, you did something for me back then. I'm going to give you this piece of business now.
Nice. So I figure you're a big Dharma fan.
Yes.
And yeah, just give. Eventually, it will come back.
Absolutely.
So it works. And yeah, you also have a marketing background, right? So like, what type of progressive or out of the box strategies or efforts like do you apply in your real estate business?
So I was trained in marketing and branding, media, and I enjoy like building something from nothing, right? When you're building a brand, when you're building a marketing campaign, right? You're taking an idea and then putting it into practice one way or another. You want to attract people, whether they be your customers or buyers or sellers, but you're attracting people to want to use your service or want to buy your product, and working with companies, not just real estate agents, but big companies who are like building a brand and figuring out how to get their message out there and what the right message should be. And maybe there's different messages, and then creating a campaign around the message, and whether it be on media, whether it be in print, or whether it be in radio, and like, the right wording and creating all this stuff is just enjoyable to me. So I've been doing that for a long time. I got hired by many different companies, a lot of real estate, teams now, helping them brand, what color should they use, what the logo should be, how they should be using it. Is it easy to translate onto different types of products? What kind of swag or merchandise are you giving out, right? Or are you selling? And so making sure that your brand and your logo and your visibility is done properly. So all these things come together. They all come back to, how to be a good salesperson, right? You need to understand how to market, how to brand, how to merchandise what you're selling, so it creates value to someone who's buying it or using it, wants to actually use it. And so we do that often for a lot of different things over the years, all different industries, some in media, some in actual products, some in the food business. And so I use my connections and help connect people and help build a brand and take people from point A to point B in order to grow their business.
So you also coach even outside the real estate industry. That's what you're saying.
Pretty much. I consult for a lot of companies, helping them build their brands, their ideas, their marketing structure, making sure that they're out there in the right way, whether it be online or social media or through Google rankings, and making sure they understand what they need to do, who they need to hire in order to get and execute on their plan.
Right. But is this something that you market and you go after, or is just like people just refer you and they already known you as an authority, so they come to you?
Yeah, it's 99% referral business. I mean, it's, my main focus is real estate. I love real estate. I love helping people get into homes, selling it, you become their friend afterwards, and like, you're part of their life. So like, that's my focus. And, through that, they see how I operate. And then people will say, hey, can you help me with this or help me with that? I'm like, yeah, sure. I can consult for that part of it. And so I do take on these projects every so often, and it's just really word of mouth, like, because once you do good for someone and you create a campaign for them, or marketing or a brand or a logo or colors or whatever it is, they tell other people, like, people will compliment them and they'll be like, oh, who created that for you? Like, who's your team? And they're like, oh, we hired, Marc Stein. And like, oh, really? I thought he does real estate. Yeah, but he does this on the side. So, being known for it all is really nice. I mean, before I was in any business, I used to have a business card, and it said on it, my tagline, you want it, you got it. Like, I was willing to do anything, throughout high school and college, just to work and experience different jobs and different places. And, I had my first business card, which was just me. It's a business consultant. You want it, you got it, with my phone number. And that was it. And that's how I built the business to begin with. So people have known me for a long time in different ways. And when I got into real estate, I just took all that basic knowledge that I created, and learned over the years and applied it to real estate. I was able to grow the business. When I decided to go full time, it grew very quickly.
Awesome. And yeah, back to links residential then with your real estate business. Would you say, is there something that you're doing differently than any other team in EXP Realty?
I don't know if we were doing it differently than any other team, but I have a huge focus on building relationships. And the way I built my business was I walked up the main street in the town I lived in. I met every business owner, I met every manager, I met every waiter and waitress at every restaurant. And for 3 years, every week, I would walk up and down and check in on them and say hello and care about them and learn about their families. And over time, that built me relationships in the town and was able to get me a lot of real estate. It didn't happen overnight. So when I train my agents to build relationships, I tell them my story, but I give them 10, 20, 30 ideas of what they can be doing to build their business. And every agent works differently. Like, just because I was successful doing that doesn't mean someone else is going to be, right? Because they have to care what they're doing. So I give them enough ideas and plans and action items that they could be doing every day to build their network, to build their relationships in order to bring in more buyers and sellers. And a lot of these techniques work anywhere you are, as long as you do the work. And so because we have those systems in place and we have the right staff in place to help them, they're able to be very successful as real estate agents.
Yeah, I was imagining they can always they can all do the exact same what you were doing. I was just imagining, like, your 15 agents, they'll walk the same street and talk with the same business owners, and I was like, oh, okay, you work for Marc Stein. Okay, I'll tell you about my life.
But also, there's a lot of different towns. They don't have to do it in the same town. Like, real estate is everywhere. So the key is like getting them to take action, right, in order to get results. And a lot of real estate agents get the real estate license or in real estate and like, hey, I got my real estate license, come work with me. But they're not creating value for people. They're not showing that they care about other people. And so you need to build your relationships in order for people to care about you and want to use you as an agent. And then once they see you being successful, they're going to want to use you because your success brings more success. And so showing people that you have been successful for others and getting the recommendation and getting the referrals and building those relationships past the sale is what's going to bring you more business tenfold later on.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, Marc, you also have a podcast yourself, right? So this is nothing new for you. It's called the whatever it takes podcast. So can you tell us a bit, why did you start your podcast and what is the objective and what are you getting out of it?
So over the course of the last few years, I've had a lot of conversations with small business owners and some corporate America people, and listening to them in terms of where they started versus where they are today, right? We all have our social media. We see everyone posting their successes, right? And I see people with the cars and the houses and the trips and all the stuff that's fun. And people look at it, society looks at it, right? And they're like, oh, look how successful he is. Let me try doing what he's doing, or let me do this, or let me do that because it's going to bring me more money or bring me more wealth or bring me more success. And people don't realize, what does it take to be successful? They don't hear about the grit that the people go through in order to build their companies, in order to build their businesses. People don't remember, the sleepless nights, the Saturday nights that they're sitting and working as opposed to out and partying. They don't remember, the 15, 18, 20-hour days that go into it sometimes in order to get to where they are today, right? We have this idea that success comes when you just, do what it is you're doing, but there's a story behind it all. And I have 2 young daughters, and sharing with them stories and, getting them to be in the right mindset to be successful. Like, they come to me all the time and say, hey, this person has this. And I'm like, yes, but do you know what they did in order to get that? They're like, no. I'm like, well, why don't you find out? And they would come back and find out that, like, they had to do something in order to receive that reward, to receive that trip, to receive that, new piece of clothing. And like, there's more to it than what we all see on social media, what gets posted. So I wanted to start telling that story of what does it take to be successful. And we've had people, both in real estate and in other industries, who've come on to talk about the things that they've gone through, the ups and downs, the businesses that have failed in order for them to be successful in the business they are in today. And even myself, I've had a lot of failures over the years, a lot of things that didn't go as planned, a lot of partnerships that broke down, but you get back up the next day and you restart or you rebuild and you keep going until you get to the place where you feel like, okay, now I'm being successful in what I'm doing. And there's some days I don't feel successful in terms of what I'm doing every day. And so I have to remember Sometimes, you listen to these podcasts, how what people are doing in order to be successful, and you have to refocus, get in the right mindset, do the right action items in order to do it. And so sharing that story and sharing these stories on the podcast has been an incredible journey for me. It's the stories that we've had are great. We've had some podcasts that have really like just taken off and people love that story and like want to know more. We probably will do a follow-up on some of them that we've had so far, but it's just been an absolutely incredible journey to hear people's stories and, get to know them a little better. And people are learning a lot of business direction from these podcasts. So it's really been great.
Nice. So do you do a little maybe like advice, maybe advice in their business as well, in their life, I guess?
I mean, I don't give advice to them because, everyone has their own point of view, but I like to hear their story and hear what was important to them while they were being successful. What was the motivation to keep them going when things weren't working out? Because I think that as people listen to that and they say, oh, I know I can relate to that. I'm going through a similar situation, or I'm having a difficult time with this. It all just kind of builds on each other. And so when people listen to the podcast, we get text messages every week. Like, I didn't know that person went through that. Like, that's really inspirational to me, and we're affecting people's lives by getting them to realize that you don't have to be successful tomorrow. It's a journey. You got to take baby steps. You got to take the right actions. You got to keep building every day in order to get to where you want. And the same thing in real estate. Like, it doesn't happen overnight. You can't get your real estate license and tomorrow sell 50 homes. It's very rare that happens, if at all. You got to do the right actions, build the right relationships, do the right things, and it'll come the success. But you got to keep doing it every day, no matter how difficult it is.
Yeah, that's awesome, Marc. I haven't taken a look at the podcast yet, but I will for sure. And
Absolutely.
And yeah, tell me, Marc, where do you go from here? What are your goals? You can talk a bit about 2022 and then the most long-term ones.
So again, right now we're just focused on making sure our agents are educated well for the market shift we're about to experience. Many of my agents were not in the market in 2007, 8, 9, 10, when things were a little different. I've been in the business since 2001. I've seen a little bit change a couple times. So right now we're just focusing on educating the real estate agents that work with us on what to expect, how to shift your business, how to treat things differently, what things to be cautious about, so that we can truly be successful throughout the next year or 2 or 3, depending how long this shift lasts for, until we get to the next shift. So that's what the immediate focus is, making sure of that. Long-term focus is to keep growing the brand, keep growing, the idea of helping more agents around the country. We're in touch with agents and team leaders all over the place who, reach out to us for advice and help. And we, happy to help them no matter what company they're with. And, if it makes sense for them to come to EXP, we'll tell them that. And if it doesn't, we'll be honest with them. Some people have really good deals and structures where they are, and it makes sense the way they're running their business to stay where they are. I think EXP is the best platform out there because it's a true platform to run your business how you want to run it. But we're going to grow our brand. The way we came up with our name was, I was trying to find a real estate brand that I can build. I didn't want it to be Marc Stein Real Estate because I want it to be bigger than who I am, right? It doesn't need to be about me. And so we figured out, what do we do every day? We help buyers and sellers, but we link buyers and sellers. So we became Links Residential. Linking buyers and sellers is our tagline. And that's all we want to do. We want to focus on how we can help more buyers and sellers accomplish their goals. And that's really what we focus on every day. And that's the long-term growth, is just to grow this organization as large as we can.
Nice. So tell me, Marc, how can people link up with you if they want to know more about what you're doing? Maybe they want to, they have an amazing story to tell on the Whatever It Takes podcast. How can they link up with you?
Sure. So you reach me on Facebook, Marc Stein. On Facebook, it's Marc the Misfit. On Instagram, I never really fit anything, so it was always the Misfit. So I became Marc the Misfit on Instagram. Marc Stein on LinkedIn. Links NJ is the Instagram handle. linksnj.com is our website. We have multiple websites running, so you might come across others, but that's the main one. And reach out anytime. Anyone has any questions, anyone needs any help with anything, I'm happy to help in any way I can. Perfect.
And thank you, Marc, for linking up with me. It was a pleasure having on here on the Icons of Real Estate podcast. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed it as well.
Thanks so much for having me. I really enjoyed. Good luck to you.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.